Hi there, folks. Sean Broderick here. I'm at the New Orleans Investment Conference speaking to Scott Melbye. He's an old friend of ours. We've had him on many times. He's from UEC. That's a uranium company. They are a past producer. They can ramp up new production when the price gets to the right spot within 12 to 24 months.
Yeah, some as soon as 6 months.
Right.
So in our existing operation.
Right. He is going to give us an outlook on the macro picture, speak about what UEC specifically is doing. Scott, could you please speak to my viewers about that?
Sure, thanks, Sean. I realize that those of us in the uranium space, the pace of this recovery is really testing a lot of our patience and certainly feeling a bit of fatigue. But I think what's really encouraging, though, is that the underlying thesis behind nuclear power growth and the rebalancing of the uranium market, mainly driven by production cuts by major producers around the world, is really continuing to work towards that thesis. Is it taking a little bit longer? Yes. Did 232 and the sort of wet blanket that threw on market activity for 18 to 24 months have an impact? Yes, of course. But the underlying reality is, the global nuclear industry has added 42 reactors in the last 6 years. We're building 54 more. Uranium requirements are approaching 200 million, and uranium production's at 140 million annually. So we're really into a period now where new mine production is going to be needed. Even when existing standby producers ramp back up, we still need new mines to be put into production in the coming years. And that's obviously the advantage is going to go to either restart opportunities or fully permitted and licensed operations like we have at UEC.
Right. And so, I think people were disappointed with the news out of the government earlier this year, but it ain't over till the fat lady sings. There is news coming out in probably later this month, isn't it?
Yeah. So I think everybody was aware of the July 12th decision by the Trump administration not to go with quotas and tariffs as a response to the 232 investigation on foreign uranium. Unfortunately, I think there was a lot of sort of speculative money in the market that were counting on either a binary result, either quotas or no quotas. What happened instead was another outcome, which actually maybe in the end be much better. And it was President Trump basically saying, yeah, there is a problem here. We're getting 99% of our uranium from imports, much of it from countries that we wouldn't count on as close friends, 40% as much from Russia, Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan. Something needs to be done for the energy sector in the United States, where an over-reliance on Russian fuel is not a good idea, and for the naval nuclear program. Our aircraft carriers, submarines have to run on U.S. origin uranium, and the stockpiles that have been fueling that fleet have really been worked down to a point where they need to be back in the market in the coming years. So President Trump recognized that, said, listen, let's put a multidisciplinary team together of his cabinet secretaries and others in support like FERC, NRC, and come up with a comprehensive solution, not just for uranium, but uranium conversion enrichment, and perhaps do something for nuclear energy at the same time. So that report is due in middle of November. We think it will be positive because we know the kind of questions they've been asking us. We know the kind of input we've been giving. We just, we don't want to be in a business of trying to handicap how Trump will come down on the decision, but we're optimistic that this will be good. I mean, it's not every day you have the President of the United States and all his cabinet secretaries working together to find ways to revitalize and help kickstart our industry.
Okay. And also, Cameco reported earnings this past week, and they had some outlook in the industry that was actually pretty good, wasn't it?
Yeah, so, we all know about the reactor growth globally. We all know about the production cuts. So really the last variable to come into play here has been the renewed utility procurement cycle. It was clearly put on hold by the 232 process, but now with that coming to an end, we see that the utilities have very significant unfilled requirements in the coming years and have been contracting at lower than normal levels, much lower than normal levels. So everybody's been watching very carefully to see when the utilities kind of come back to that activity. And Cameco reported in their quarterly call this week that indeed utilities are now beginning to inquire about future supplies of uranium. I mean, it's one thing to live off the spot market, engage in carry trades with traders in the near term in an oversupplied, depressed market. But as prices start to change, it's much like the wind changing. The utilities are going to have to set the sails in a different fashion, and that means going to producers, who are the only way that they're going to be able to hedge price and secure the supply risk going forward. We haven't seen that kind of cycle for some time, as long as the price has been very low. So very encouraging as utilities come to the market, they test the long-term terms and conditions. I think we're going to have a lot of price discovery. They're going to see that a lot of the suppliers that were there for them in past cycles have either completely played out their resources or have shut in production permanently and left the space. So we're very encouraged. The price is still at $24, but given that's below the incentive price for existing and certainly future production, we remain extremely optimistic.
Okay, good. Well, that's the big picture. Let's move on to UEC itself. What price would you guys need to go back into production, and how are you preparing for that for what you see as the coming bull market?
Yeah, so UEC's whole strategy as an unhedged producer is to take advantage of downturns, because we're not going to be producing and selling into a market where we don't generate the returns that our investors should rightfully expect. But when prices are down, as they have been in this bear market, we've been extremely active in licensing, permitting, drilling additional resources, and preparing operations at multiple sites to come into production quite quickly. So as we stand today, we have 4 fully licensed, permitted operations in Texas and Wyoming that can produce up to 4 million pounds a year. The quickest production will come from Palangana. We have existing well fields infrastructure in place, but we're also advancing the Burke Hollow project, also in South Texas. We're beginning to prepare the first production well field at Burke Hollow for ultimate production when prices hit $45, $50 a pound, which sounds like a lot in a $24 market, but there aren't a lot of projects around the world that have that kind of incentive go threshold. So we continue to advance the production readiness at all our operations. That includes Reno Creek in Wyoming, that we're updating the pre-feasibility study to really determine what's the capital lift and what's the time frame to get that into production. Do we want to build our own processing plant? Do we want a toll mill? All those decisions will be made in the coming months.
Okay, great. And you guys even have more irons in the fire because you have a new royalty company that you guys are rolling up, right?
Absolutely. Well, we recognized for some time now that in base and precious metals, there's a $40 billion industry out there which is focused on royalty and streaming. So these are companies that don't own the mines, they don't have huge staffs, huge overhead. They acquire existing royalties and streams, or they provide alternative mine finance for new mine developments and operators. UEC helped co-found Uranium Royalty Corp, which has been operating as a private company since April of 2017. We're in the process now of taking that public to really bring this model to the uranium industry. We think it's a great non-dilutive way for developers to bring production to the market when it's needed in the coming years. We also think for investors it's a great pure play but still diversified investment in the uranium space. So you have the pure uranium ETFs with Yellowcake, UPC. You have the equities themselves that have their own unique risk-return relationship, but the royalty and streaming model, if we can emulate what's been very successful in base and precious metals with uranium royalty, we're quite excited, and we can also crystallize quite an off-balance sheet asset for UEC, which upon public listing will could add over $20 million in a quality asset on our books.
Because this is an industry that has just been beaten down so much, no one expects a bidding war on anything. But metals are cyclical, and it's been beaten down so long, so deep, that you practically need a shovel to get down to these stocks anyway. So when it comes back, you'll see things like bidding wars come back and like stuff like that. And this is a company that has a great portfolio of properties and is spinning out a streaming company as well. So it seems like you're in a good position for when that bull market comes back. Simple as UEC
Yes.
Is there anything else you'd like to add before we go?
Yeah, no, I just, again, I just to reiterate what Sean said, in the resource business, you've got to embrace the inevitable cyclicality of a commodity. And that just doesn't mean during the good times, it means during the down cycles, there's a period of great opportunity to acquire assets for cents on the dollar, but you've got to, permit the license, advance them, and be ready to produce when the market turns. So UEC is an excellent way to get that exposure in what is a more exciting uranium market and nuclear energy more broadly going forward.
Okay, great. Thanks very much for speaking to my viewers. You folks stay tuned. I'll have more for you. This is Sean Broderick at the New Orleans Investment Conference.